What if you could take that risk, make that change, reach that goal, live your best life? Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast, where we get together with amazing experts and everyday people who share challenges, encourage healing, and explore the possibilities that life has to offer. I'm your host, Gary Scott, and I'm excited that you're along for the ride. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the What If You Could podcast. And today, my amazing guest, all the way from Poland, is Kasia Bukowska,
You said
right?
that right. Great. Good job. Round of applause for Gary Scott, everyone.
I practice and practice. I swear to God, I'm just not a smart guy. All right, let's just face it. But thank you so much for joining me. You've got a great story, and what you're doing is awesome. So I can't wait to get into it. But real quick, I'm just going to read your bio, and we'll get cooking. That okay?
Mm-hmm.
Cool bit. Everybody, today's guest is a true force of healing and transformation. Kasia Bukowska is an internationally recognized equine therapist, artist, and mindset mentor who helps people break through emotional blocks using the power of horse connection and creative expression. Once told she'd never ride again after a devastating lupus diagnosis, Kash defied the odds, healing herself from the inside out through non traditional horse training, inner work, and art. Her story has inspired audiences worldwide as had featured in Sidelines magazine, Horse Illustrated, and the cover of Barefoot Horse Magazine. From painting with her fingers to coaching with her horses, Kasia shows us how our struggles can become our greatest superpowers. Get ready to explore the magic of mindset, the wisdom of horses, and the healing power of radical self responsibility. That's all awesome stuff. And man, I love horses and your art. Your art is absolutely beautiful. I looked at all your art. I love what you're doing with the horses. We're friends on Facebook, so I get to watch you play with your ponies. But before we get started, because I'm contractually obligated to ask the what if you could question, Kasia, have you ever had a what if you could moment? Is there a what if you could thought that you'd love to share with the gang before we get started?
Yes, it helps me to close my eyes. So I'm just going to repeat after you. What if I could change and improve a million lives? A million human lives, a million horse lives. What if I could become such a force that I would be able to help humans heal and horses heal, not just here in Poland or just sprinkles around the globe, but that I can truly start healing not even thousands, but help millions on their journey. Just saying that makes me want to tear up and ruin my makeup right now. So it's hard to keep going, but I think for me, that's just a sign that my body says yes. Like that is my ultimate goal. That is my new biggest dream, because the dream I had before I just said that was a tiny bit smaller. But now this is taking it to a much larger scale, and I see how that can be possible. I definitely do. If I could get out of a wheelchair and onto the back of a horse again and start training horses, and I could prove doctors wrong about that, then honestly, helping a million lives and impacting a million horse lives and a million human lives, that's doable in my lifetime. So thank you so much for asking me that question.
Well, I love that because I love horses more than I love people. So I'm going to start with the horses. You know, there's billions of horses, billions of people. Um, in America, we're kind of rounding them up and doing stupid, horrible things, and around the world, they do horrible things. So, how do we heal the horses first? How do we heal horses?
I have two rescued horses. One of them passed away. But in learning how to heal these horses, I learned how to heal myself. But the thing was, when I was helping them heal, I see horses now as a mirror of everything that's going on in my subconscious. So I was really doing for them what I needed as a child, as a teenager. I specifically chose horses based on my gut feeling and my physical body reaction when I saw their photos. I bought um, almost all of my horses sight unseen. Three of them I imported. So the first time I saw them was when they stepped off the trailer, and there was one horse that I just had maybe three photos of her and an 8-second video, and I just felt it in my entire body. And the thing is that these horses taught me how to take off some of the masks of my own so that I could help them. And it was crazy because they showed me how authentic I could be when I could approach my connection with them in that way. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so emotional today.
Good. I like it. I love emotions because the horses bring the emotion out of you. I mean, I had a pony, a Shetland pony, and two horses. They were all rescues, and one of the rescues was Chief. His name was like Buttercup or something. I'm like, no, you're not a Buttercup. You're a Chief. And he was an old trail horse, so no matter how far we wanted to go ride, he only went a certain distance and then came back to the house. It's just like he knew that was his thing, right? But the other horse, Cheyenne, and her name was something stupid like I don't know. And so I changed it to Cheyenne when we rescued her. But we basically couldn't even get on her. She was so abused. And it was so horrible. But it's amazing how she would hook on to me, right? She just trusted me. And anyone who's been around horses, right? You know when they look at you and you feel that nose and you see those eyes, you can't bullshit a horse, right?
Mhm.
I mean, they
Totally,
know when
totally.
you're talking about emotion and tying on to one. You can't fool them. You know, they trust you or they don't trust you, and there's not a lot in between, is there?
Yup, exactly, and, it really triggers a lot of people, and people want a really obedient horse, a horse that listens to them, and it boosts their ego and makes them feel worthy, and I feel like there's a shift happening in the equestrian world right now, which is really good, but there's a lot of opinionated people, and they're each on their own journeys, but the thing is the horses trigger these people so much because let's say someone wants the horse to do something and this horse doesn't really want to do that, and they get frustrated because the horse isn't listening to me, and the added stress of people being there watching, seeing what you're doing, makes you bubble inside. It makes you more tense, which causes the horse to want to either run away, fight, or shut down completely. And instead of seeing the situation as, oh my gosh, I have some unmet needs, I have some emotions going on inside of me, this is a trigger for me that the horse isn't listening to me, let me work on that before I pick up a whip. Because your intention with the whip now with the horse is coming from a completely different defensive, aggressive place than if you were to see the horse isn't moving. Okay, so I laugh about it, let's say, because maybe my horse is distracted. So I'm going to try to be creative and get him to go in a different way. If there's a consistent no, no, no from my horse, no, I'm not ready to compromise for you, then, I'll change it. Okay, we won't do that, whatever. But other equestrians, they focus so deeply that, oh my gosh, my horse is trying to dominate me. My horse isn't listening to me, and I need to be the boss and show him who the boss is. I remember I even used that phrase, you need to show him who's boss. Um, but that was only before I got lupus and before Lupus just took all of my strength away. And so I was literally forced to just observe horses, their herd behavior, and also figure out how to attract my horse to me because I didn't have the strength to go walk and go get him or keep him around me. And so I started learning all of these things. And you asked me, like, what's the first step in helping horses heal? And I think it's humans healing because we need to be open to a new perspective. There's natural horsemanship where you use pressure release, which in some cases, when there's a dangerous situation, I totally understand and agree. But in other situations, there can be other methods to help build positive associations and with the horse wanting to be around you instead of causing so much stress for the horse. And people who use this pressure release, it's a very delicate and topic because in my opinion you have to take so many factors into consideration. Maybe the horse's history, if you know it, the horse's preferences. Are they introverts, extroverts? What do they like? How do they like to be? Because for example, if I pick up a whip with one horse, that horse might not be phased by it, not because he's been beaten with it and now he's just shut down, but because there's this level of communication and trust where that's not stressful for him. But if I see him showing me some signals, calming signals that he needs to self soothe in this situation, then I think, whoa, 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 something's off here. And let's just drop the whip, for instance. Let's go to positive reinforcement, or let's ditch all of those methods and just be present for a moment so I can try to be a, put my detective glasses on and investigate what's going on in you emotionally, which tends to be a reflection of, actually, I need to figure out what's going on in me emotionally. But first, being open to new perspectives, because I've talked to quite a few equestrians, I've done some clinics, and I get a lot of pushback about, no, well, it's done this way and it works. Yes, on the outside, on the surface level, it does work. If you use the pressure and then release, and then the horse learns very quickly. Yes. But does the horse technically have a choice? No. I'm not saying that I use positive reinforcement 100% of the time, because positive reinforcement and pressure release or negative reinforcement, they're both forms of training. So technically, even if I'm giving treats, it's not necessarily the horse choosing to, because of how I'm manipulating the brain, because I know the processes. Like maybe Pavlov's dogs and them salivating. So I know what I'm triggering, and I prefer to trigger this dopamine and these endorphins for my horse rather than cortisol in a stress response to get them to do what I would like to do, but also to get them to do things that will keep them healthy, like exercise and movement and doing enriching things together to keep their brain active and happy and have their friends and everything. So yeah, it's a very
Well, I want to touch on a couple things you said. One of them is trust. It's like I said, the two horses I had were so completely different. Chief was completely bomb proof. You could lay on him. The kids would We rode him bareback all the time. You could hang on him and everything. And Cheyenne was obviously much more different. She had no trust. Um, but when a lot of times when an animal sees someone that's not well, they know the person's not feeling physically well. When you started this, and I want to hear your story about the lupus and things like that, so maybe you can go there with this answer. But when you were approaching these animals to kind of try to get back on the horse, so to speak, literally, um, how does a horse react to that? How does a horse react to you knowing that you're hurting and they can sense it? Do you have to start from a whole different area with the horse?
I think it also depends on the horse. Most of them will melt into you.
Mm.
But each of my horses has a different history. And what's interesting about this is that when a client comes for one-on-one coaching to get some clarity, figure things out, things like that, then I open the gate and a horse comes out, sometimes multiple horses, and those are the horses that we use in the session. And it's really interesting to see which horses are attracted to them in that moment. And that
Mm.
also gives me a signal of what we're going to be working on because I know what those horses mean to me and what they've helped me specifically with and what parts of me they have helped me heal. So I generally know what direction and what questions that I will be asking during that session. Although sometimes my horses really do surprise me. And I learn a lot as well. But like when I was diagnosed with lupus and I went to go visit and I was finally able to go visit my horse, he is very opinionated. Oh, he's very difficult. And I love that about him. I love how grounded he is, how he just stands there with this presence and confidence. This like kind of like prove yourself. Why should I do that? How is that going to benefit me? And like I wish I could at that time I wish I could come into my life and be like, how is that going to benefit me? Because I'm just more like, "Oh, what do you need? I'm a people pleaser." And so when this horse just stands there and is like, "Tell me, explain to me why. Why should I do that?" Like, that's just power. And so when I was sick and getting better, it was interesting because I wanted to do more. I wanted to get back on as fast as I could. I wanted him to exercise. I wanted him to run around so that, he would build the muscle so that he could hold me again. And it was very frustrating for me because he didn't want to be around me. And when my husband, now husband, but at that time boyfriend, helped me like bring him into the arena, which is closed, he's away from the herd of horses, he's away. He would literally just stand there and look at me. And it was like he saw me, he saw through all of that, and I didn't get it at the time because it was this whole process, this whole journey of figuring out what the horse is mirroring to me. Took years, but in that moment he was telling me like, stop doing so much. Like you don't have to ride, we don't have to exercise. We could just stand here and you're worthy just standing here. Just stand with me.
Wow.
And I couldn't do
Uh,
that.
what is lupus?
Lupus is an autoimmune disease and it affects people differently. I also have fibromyalgia. However, I'm on my last 2 weeks of my medications, and I will be off 100% of my medications, so and then I'm gonna
Eh.
get a blood test and prove to everyone that, like, I had lupus and now I don't. Because in the books, you can't cure it. Doctors told me I'd be on medications for the rest of my life, blah, blah, blah. I might need some dialysis, I might need this and this, and it was just so overwhelming. For me, it affected my joints at first, and so I just swelled up like a balloon, like an elephant, and every single joint hurt. Even my jaw hurt. So chewing was too difficult. It was more like mush that I could eat because it was hard to even, a little bit. So at that time, I needed round the clock care. And I had a boyfriend at the time, now my husband. So I only knew him for 3 months. And he decided to become my caretaker. So he showered me, he brushed my hair, he fed me, and he just stuck with me, even though I broke up with him like 3 times a day, every day. Because I
Well,
didn't.
because we all know, I mean, I've been through some wicked health issues, and I know a lot of people who've been through some wicked health issues. Being a caregiver is really brutal because when you're sick and you don't feel well, you're not always the nicest person in the world because you just don't feel good, right? So the fact that you fired him when my wife was who passed from cancer, when I was her caregiver, she was the nicest human on the planet, but when she didn't feel good, I mean, she fired me all the time. I'm like, dude, we've been married 26 years. You can't fire me.
Oh, I'm so
But right, I mean, when you don't feel well, you're not always the nicest person. So how were you able then? Did the painting come before the illness, or were you painting before you got lupus?
oh boy, this question. So I have a joke I like to say now that the universe bitch slapped me into a wheelchair so that I would, paint. That it was really my mission ever since I was
Wait a minute, wait a minute. The universe bitch slapped you into a wheelchair so you would
Yes.
start to paint.
That's
Easy,
how I see it.
universe. All you had to do was ask, universe. You didn't have to bitch slap me into
No,
it.
because the universe kept giving me signals and I kept ignoring it over and
I
over and
get
over
that.
again until it was like, wake up.
Man, I
So
know. I trust me. I'm not going to share my stuff because this is about your story. But trust me, I completely get that. Sometimes I always use the expression. I had to get kicked in the nuts a couple times before I woke up and started to get direction. So the universe bitch slaps you into a wheelchair with lupus, and I guess you're just staring at your horses. You miss your horses, and you just all of a
I
sudden
at
start.
that time I was in Los Angeles at USC because in Poland I could not find help here. They were not able to tell me what I had. I was in three different hospitals. I went to over 20 private doctors. Most of them just told me that I am crazy. And one of them even pulled my dad aside and told him to crush up. They did give me some antidepressants, antipsychotics, but she told him to crush up these antipsychotics and put them in my food because I'm just faking it. So that's how people treated it. When I was swollen, that was a little bit different. But when they had me on so much medication, steroids and the methotrexate and all of this stuff, and the swelling went down. I looked like I look right now, except I was in excruciating pain. So no one believed me because I looked on the outside fine. So they just said it was a cry for attention. Yeah, but the artwork, like I was always interested in drawing and art, and I really struggled in school. And I recently went into a deep meditation to I regularly meditate and go into my past traumas and relive them so that I can release them. And it's like every time I do that with one trauma, it's like pulling off an onion layer. And then I have like access, I have a ticket to an even deeper trauma. Yes. And so then it's like the next one. And I recently did one from third grade about a kid who called me retarded in front of my whole class because I wasn't doing well in school. I wasn't doing well in reading, math, history, all of the normal stuff, but I was excelling in art. All of my art projects were amazing, and I just went above and beyond. Like I felt so happy in this, but with traditional family values, art isn't going to get you very far. You're going to be poor and you need to be, a vet. You like animals, be a vet, do something better. And so I never really went after it. I just tried so hard to be better in school. And it was about less than a year ago that I remembered this memory because it was blocked out from my memory. I relived it, and after I released that, it was so interesting. I started becoming obsessed with books because I had never read a book cover to cover. Never.
That's
Because of
pretty
this.
common. That's actually very common, to be honest with you. Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of people haven't. But what book was it that inspired you to finish it, to read it cover to cover? Remember?
What was my first one that I read cover to cover? I don't even remember. I have so many here. I don't know. Like I just all the self-development books, consciousness books. I just want to learn more about how my brain works, how horses' brains work, how to just be happy. And I found that through meditating and being more spiritual, which I never was in the past. But actually, one of my horses helped me get there. He really gave me a very spiritual experience that I thought like I was in another dimension or something. Like, what's happening? I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm in a witchcraft movie. Did I take mushrooms and I don't remember? Like, this is nuts. It was crazy. Yeah, but
I think they crushed up magic mushrooms and put them in
yeah.
your food. Like they were fucking with your other stuff too.
So the
So
horses help.
so is this how your training and your healing and the work you're doing with people is this how it came about? All of a sudden the horse brought you the spirituality, or were you starting as you were physically healing and you were getting back with the horses and you were painting? Did this kind of meticulate or materialize? I don't know what I'm looking for, but did is that how it started coming out of you? Like, I think I want to heal people besides horses.
Yes, it's a recent thing, and the universe works so beautifully. And now I just surrender.
Did it have to bitch slap you again, or did you just pick up the universe this
Yes,
time? You were like,
well, in other ways, yes, it put me through other types of pain, um, which I will try to do in say in a nutshell. How everything like a ladder, you need each step to go to get to the higher the next level. And so needed to fall in love with this horse because he's the one who brought me to Poland. I needed to get Lupus and stop riding so that I could start to observe horses and see that connection that they have. Also, Lupus was the reason why I started painting. I had never painted before, but my mom doesn't know the difference between, you know, pencils and paper and that kind of art, because art is art and do something creative, right? But I hated painting, but that's all I had, and I couldn't move out of bed. So I started painting, and I needed that because the horses and the artwork connected. When I was out there feeling with the horses, I went to my art studio to paint something because I felt stuff which I couldn't put words to. I couldn't understand what it was. So I painted it. And then I would start to sit and analyze the painting. And then I started to realize, oh my gosh, like the horses are my mirror. They're speaking with my subconscious. I get these feelings. I vomit my feelings basically through color onto canvas. I analyze this whole picture. What is the subject? What is the texture? What is the tone? What do they look like? What do I feel when I look at this? And then I analyze what I'm processing in my life, or what kind of trauma it reminds me of, or what my current goals are, what I want to achieve. So I look into the artwork for answers, where at that time, that was a way for me to connect with my subconscious and my higher self through this. Because if I were to draw you something literally right now, it would look like crap because I'm thinking. And when I'm painting, I don't know. I'm not here, like consciously, I could say. I'm just in my own world and it just flows. When my brain is on, I can't do that. So I have to be in this flow, and that's when I feel most in touch with whatever's going on inside of me. So when I work with people, I really try to tap into this intuition, something which my entire life I had run away from, hid, tried to ignore until, the bitch slap in the wheelchair. And that's when I started listening again. And so client comes and whatever horse comes, okay, let's see what happens. What question comes to me or what exercise comes to me? I don't know, go jump on the trampoline and get the horse to come to you. That's what came to me right now. So go do it. And then because they're just like so confused, they're like, what, this is a crazy lesson. Okay. And so they go jump on the trampoline, and then it's like something happens. Something happens where it gives me the next direction of where to take this. Either the horse does something, I can see some expression on their face that makes me feel, oh, they're really uncomfortable. This was a really good exercise because, progress comes from
Yep.
entering into that discomfort. So
Yep.
when we hit that point, let's go deeper into the discomfort. I'm here with you. The horse is here with you, or maybe on the other side of the arena, but we'll see. Maybe that's for a reason. And we try to decipher and figure things out together. I tend to try to ask a lot of questions so that the client can come to their own conclusions about it. And what I found for myself in the beginning, and now I use this with my clients, is we talk about the horse and what the horse is doing. Yes, okay, we're walking around the arena together, but what is the horse doing? And it seems very basic, like a very surface level. This is stupid. The horse is eating grass. Like, "What this is stupid." It's like, "Okay, well, what are we doing?" "Well, we're standing here like idiots." And it's like, this makes no sense whatsoever, but then it's like one thing leads to another. The horse starts to do something, they start to feel something, and we talk about what's going on. Why do they think the horse is doing that? For instance, that's one of the questions I tend to ask. And most people say, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. But then I just keep at, why do you think the horse is doing that? And then finally something comes out. Something comes out, and then they start to realize it's not about the horse. They actually talk about themselves. But it's easier when you talk about something outside of you. Not, oh, I have this pain, this problem with my childhood, and I had this. But let me talk about the horse. Oh, that's easy. Look at him eating the grass. Totally not interested.
there's also something to that, about being uncomfortable. Because as humans, we'll do anything on the planet. We'll do anything to not be uncomfortable, right? Because we don't
Oh.
do well being uncomfortable because it starts exposing ourselves along with what you just did, which is creating quiet, creating peace, and creating stillness. And people don't like that a lot of times because that leads to the uncomfortableness, right? If you're just quiet and say, well, just watch the horse for a little bit, what's the horse doing? They get nervous because, like, aren't we supposed to be talking? Or aren't we supposed to be doing something? Or aren't you supposed blah 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 blah?
We need to
But it's
be
like, no, no, no.
productive. We need to do something.
Right, right. But just no, be still. I mean, some of my favorite things that I would do when I had my horses just let them out into the pasture and just sit there in the morning with my coffee and just watch them. Just enjoy them. And they don't almost always come up to me and go, "What are you doing? You what's going on?" But that's beautiful how you just tried to make them uncomfortable, but also in that stillness, tried to work through their stuff with that. I love that.
Hmm. And speaking of, like, we started talking about trust, now being uncomfortable, and what's coming to me is like when I start building trust with a horse, it is all based around building positive associations with me. I want to develop the situations in which they feel safe. And the more that they feel safe around me, the more willing they are to be around me. So then it also depends on the type of horse. Let's say we have a very timid horse that was maybe hit or beaten and is just so scared to move. Now, they don't trust their body, they don't trust their decisions, and they don't trust me as a human. So, my thing with this type of a horse is to get them comfortable with me being closer and closer. So that means, for example, allowing having food the whole time, 24/7. They have access to hay, everything, and I will walk closer to their arena, or if this horse is in a stall, then maybe a stall. But I will watch their reaction to see where are they. There's a person coming. Is it not like, oh yeah, it's like someone's coming. So that's their board, what would I call it? They're the line that I should not cross because that's putting them into fear. So I'll take a couple steps back and I'll sit down and read a book, for instance, or I'll have a
Mm,
sandwich or something so that they can start to associate me with something that's not going to pressure them, force them, or anything like that. So a lot of equestrians that I meet want instant results. And so you can get the instant results with this pressure release. It's very fast. But my goal is not performance, and not to, in the beginning, it was to prove myself as a trainer. Yes, I wanted to take on difficult horses and prove myself through my horses. But that's not my goal anymore. My goal is connection, a spiritual and emotional connection based on trust. And so once that horse trusts me to be closer and closer, then I want to start to, for this specific horse that's timid, reward the horse for any kind of curiosity. Let's say the
Mm.
horse wants to sniff my shoes. So now I'm going to reward the horse for taking that initiative. And that horse feels a little empowered, like, ooh, I made a decision and it was a good decision. So I really want to build them up in that way. Once they have that confidence in themselves and they trust me, now, for instance, I can put something like a balloon, let's say, in the arena, in the corner. And I
Mm.
come with the horse, and it's all at liberty so that if they feel scared, that they can get away, that I'm not going to be holding them. If, let's say, I'm on a trail or something and I'm walking with them and they get scared, I will literally run with them. I will try to go with them and I will give them as much line as I can because I don't want them to feel limited and stopped. They have their emotions. I feel they're entitled to have them and express them as long as we can be safe together. Like no one's life is in danger. Let's
Yeah.
run together as fast as we can so that you can feel safe and then trust me that I respect your emotions and your emotional roller coaster as well. And then I help them regulate. But then let's say there's this balloon in the corner of the arena. And if they look at it, then I will reward them. But what becomes really fun and complex is the way that they look at it. Because if they are it gets so deep. It's not like it gets there's so much to pay attention to. So if they look at it with their neck super high and their ears are like pinned forward, and I could see their breathing is different, their blinking is different, then I will use my body language and my energy calmly to walk to the furthest corner of the corner where the balloon is in to get away. So I'm making a suggestion, but I'm not forcing them to. So I'm showing them with my body. I might call them over. Then they might lick and chew, release the stress because it was stressful for them. Oh my God, there's a balloon. But they come and they follow me because we built that rapport and that trust over many, many, many sessions. They come to me, they release the stress. I'm there with them. So I've been with them in this entire cycle of emotions. I didn't leave them or force them to run around and disconnect with them because they had these emotions. I was being supportive the entire time. And that also builds their trust in me because they know I'm not just going to like leave them hanging or go crazy lady on them and yell at them or something like that. So once I see that they're regulated, then I might take the lead, be a leader, walk a couple steps towards the balloon, and then walk back to the horse. So now I'm like a fence between the scary thing and them. So they can also feel safer. And I'm showing them that I went closer and I survived and I came back and I'm still very calm. So that if the horse starts to get curious and interested and starts going on his own, then I might also like go, but on a different path and then try to connect with them through a curve. And so this is just a really fun way. And yes, this can be somewhat stressful for the horse, which is why I always want to build that trust and rapport first before I put them in a situation like this. Um, if they were to hit fear threshold, which means fear threshold is like that point where they get so scared that they enter fight or flight. Now they're not
Mm.
able to learn and really communicate with me because they're just like, oh my God, I need to get out of here. I'm not safe. And I lost my train of thought.
That's okay. People do the same thing. I mean, now, do people bring horses to you to train their horse when their horse maybe needs some help? And do you only work with people and a horse? Or do you work with people come to you and they're like, well, I'm afraid of horses, or I don't have a horse, or whatever. So when it comes to the training, yeah, you obviously work with horses. You just discussed that, told me about how you're doing that. So are you healing horses and people individually, but also using them together when you're doing that?
True. I feel like it's a lot more beneficial to have my equine therapists there to guide me. It makes it a lot easier. I just feel that the horse's heartbeat and everything helps them relax and
Mm.
feel into it as well. And the horses will feel them on another level than I do. and the horses will reflect something where I can see that in the horse because I've spent so many hours sitting on the sidelines just observing horses that I can really see it. Whereas I might not be able to see it as clearly, as well, as quickly if I'm just working with someone one on one. So I have started with one person one on one. We had a couple sessions, no horse experience, but asked, "Are you open to just going out there with my older horse? Very safe. I'll run you through the basics so you feel really good." This person agreed, and we had a very interesting first session, which I love talking about this session because I was in shock. He was in shock. We were all in shock. We were probably just standing there in silence with our jaws dropped for like 10 minutes. Okay, I'm probably exaggerating.
Why were you in shock? What was it that created where you guys were all like, "Holy shit."
So this was the confident horse who's just like, prove to me you're worth it. And so he came out. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna work on, self-worth, self-esteem, that kind of stuff today. And this horse usually doesn't walk up to you in the arena, like, because you have to prove yourself in some way. Like, are you worth it? You find the need to prove your worth out there in the world, so prove your worth here too. And so this horse never walks up to anyone. And I was like, this is going to be interesting because the exercise I gave was to go bring the horse. How you do that is up to you. There's stuff here. You don't know anything about horses. That's fine. He's super safe. Whatever you feel like. So this causes already stress the person. How
Yeah,
do I?
a lot of people are afraid of horses because they're a very big, strong
Mhm.
animal. I mean, a lot of people have fear of horses, so that would be intimidating if you're like, "Well, shit, I'm not gonna go get that horse. He can bite me
Yeah.
or
Well,
kick
this
me or."
client told me like as a child, horse camp or whatever, but this client, I don't know, 35, 40, I don't know. I don't know. So it was a while since I had contact with the horse, but this horse is, I know him so well. I see him so well. And so I just know he's just going to stand there. And what was crazy is that the horse walked up to him. And I was like, like this is shocking for me. Like I thought this was going in a completely different direction. He left the grass, met this person, and touched the hand. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
Like I was impressed. I was like, dang, okay, we're gonna work on something else. The horse turns around, takes a couple steps, starts walking away, and takes the biggest shit. The biggest poop ever. And he had diarrhea, so it kind of splattered, and then he just walks off and continues eating the grass. And I just like I was so shocked, and the kind of like, is this normal? But I like couldn't answer. I was like, uh, uh,
Not really.
like it was hard for me to continue after that. Like, just everyone's in shock. And I was like, okay, well, what does that mean to you that he did that? And he's like, well, he really doesn't care to be around me, you know? I was like, well, what does that mean exactly? And we just go deeper into it. And we got to the point where people treat him like shit. And I was like, okay, well, if everyone would take that even deeper, let's go deeper. Why do people treat you like shit? Well, because they treat themselves like shit. They themselves feel like a piece of shit, unworthy of anything, of anyone to walk next to them, beside them, with them. And so that's how we started, with a big pile of shit. It was exactly what we needed.
It was a great steaming pile of metaphor, right?
Yes, exactly. The horses just know exactly what to do in the right moment. There was another girl who has trouble speaking up, speaking her truth, just saying things. She just wants to be, very, very quiet. And so when I go out to my horses, I like to scream their names at the top of my lungs. All the neighbors here know when I go to the horses. And sometimes I just started screaming E. Like I'm a little colt, and you know how they go ee. So I just started screaming ee, and they all usually come running down from the field. And so with this girl, we were working with one specific horse who's very spicy mare. She's very fun, very energetic. And I was like, how about yell Lulu's name with me, Lulu? And I started like yelling. She starts laughing, but she wasn't able to speak up or say anything loudly. She would be like, Lulu, Lulu, but like nothing of like letting it free. And so I just started screaming louder and louder and louder, and all of the other horses started coming. And then I started laughing so hard because they heard me. I wasn't talking to them, I was talking to Lulu, but they just heard, oh, and they all just started coming. And then my mom in law is like, what's happening? Is everything okay? And so we all started laughing. But she wasn't able to scream. And it was really crazy because right in this moment, we were sitting next to each other. Lulu comes up in between us. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to have a black eye. But Lulu basically smacks her in the head and does this deep neigh that has probably went for miles and miles. Like it was this really loud where she like held her ear and she's like, oh my gosh, like, and I was like, see, even Lulu's telling you to scream at the top of your
Let
lungs.
it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we laughed about that. And
So you
um
gave her you gave her a safe place, a safe space to get outside of herself and do something incongruent for her, which was to be loud and to open herself up. She struggled doing it. She had to get hit with the horse. She had to get hit in the
yeah,
head by
exactly. So
had
it
to
took
get
a
headbutted by a
couple.
horse. So, Kathy, how are we going to how are we going to start? Because a million is not that many for you. You could knock out a million pretty quick. There's 8 billion people. So how are we going to reach our first million people and start healing them? How are we going to do that?
So right now I am starting with social media because I've been on social media for a while, but I feel like I've finally figured out who I am in the past 2 years. I've been working really deeply on, these limiting beliefs. Who am I? Not like who I was told to be and what I thought I liked, but taking off all of those masks and being truly me. And now is when I'm starting to see the inflow of followers when I show up as me, as crazy, ADHD, colorful, whatever comes up. That's who I am. And I'm seeing people following, attracted to it, because I think they see that they want to access that too, that freedom, that liberation, and that kind of connection with horses too, because the more in touch I am with myself and the more I allow myself to just make the crazy noises that I feel like and to do the silly moves and to jump on the trampoline, then my horses are also attracted to me like magnets. And so through my social media platform, I am getting more eyeballs on me and what I do, getting people curious. I have a webinar coming up next month, which is called Your Horse, Your Mirror. And,
Hmm.
I was thinking that even if someone doesn't have their own horse, but they occasionally ride, maybe only in summers or something like that, and they appreciate horses, they would still get a lot out of this webinar. And even if they don't really ride horses, but they're an animal lover,
Hmm.
to just replace the word horse with dog or cat, because they're showing you so much stuff that you're not aware of. They're giving you free therapy, like every moment of the day. You can take it or leave it. And
Except a cat. A cat will not give you therapy because a cat just doesn't give a shit. So cats, you got to take cats out of the equation. They don't care. All
I
right. They
have
don't.
seven. They're all around here. And I don't know what kind of cats you have, or maybe they're showing you something you don't want to look at.
They just show me their butt and just walk away and say, "Feed me, pet me," and now I'm done with you. I want nothing more to do with you. Um, it's funny because I watch your videos because I friended you or I followed you. I don't know what I'm doing with you on Facebook, but I do love your videos. And let's be honest, there's not a lot of authenticity in our world. Everyone's somebody else or trying to be someone else or just they aren't playful, they're not genuine, they're not authentic. And your stuff is. It's very playful, it's authentic, it's beautiful, whether you
You know,
love
the same thing
horses or
that you
not.
said, I've gotten from people, a couple of people that I actually know, not too close with, but they say that they don't like this. They don't like when I put the cat ears on, when I put the turquoise wig on or something, or the pink wig, like, because that's fake. And for me, it's not fake at all because my inner child is having the time of her life. Like, I feel so happy, so silly. And, I'm not wearing them right now, but I generally have cat ears, pink cat ears, and I started wearing them out first time outside in public 1 week ago. And you know how many people I made smile? Kids, adults, all I just made them smile. Is that fake that I put pink cat ear, sparkly cat ears on, or is that authentic? It depends on the person because I'm just a reflection of whatever is going on inside of them. For me, I feel happy. I feel more playful. And when I have those cat ears on, then I'm just more, the way I walk is different. It helps me tap into that different version of myself, that more playful, childish, fun living life, and not so stressed about, oh my gosh, I have to get all of these things done before 6 p.m. Otherwise, the world is going to end. It helps me tap into that. And then people are attracted to that energy. And also the amount of conversations that I was able to start because of this.
Like, what are those cat ears? But
Yeah.
people don't, I don't want to generalize everybody in the world, but for a lot of people, it's very difficult to be playful anymore because
Mhm.
everyone's so uptight about everything. They just feel that if they're playful, then it's like, oh my God, don't you know what's happening in the world? We all have to be completely lighting our hair on fire and burning shit down and being stressed because that's just what we do, right? We just live in constant stress. And people need to be more playful and just back the heck down and just laugh a little bit, have some fun, do something goofy. I mean, I laugh at myself all the time. I bump into walls. Drop shit on my foot. I just do shit all the time, and I just laugh because
Mhm.
it's stupid. It's funny. But it's life and it's real. And if you're finding this inner person, inner child, inner girl, whatever, that's able to come out and be happy. That just helps you with your animals. That just helps you with your horses. That just helps you with your clients. I mean, it's a better thing, right?
Exactly. I recently had a newer client of mine ask me what certification I did and what course did I do to learn about children. And I was just like, I have no children. I've never taken a course on children, but the words of wisdom that come out are literally from my inner child because I go deep into those meditations. I meet her where she's at and I ask her, what do you need in this moment? In the midst of this trauma of what's going on, what do you need? And then I play that out in my visualization and my meditation. I feel a lot of peace from that. And so that's where I get my information, is from going deep within me. And so for so many years, I heard people saying like, "Oh, you have all the answers within you," and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? If I had the answers, I'd be there." Like, what do you mean I have the answers? Like, I didn't get it. But now I get what they mean by you have the answers within you. You just have to be willing to kind of sit in the darkness for a little bit to get those answers. And that's uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't want to do that.
It's just like what you were talking about trying to get people to be still and just watch the horse and watch what we're doing in the moment and it's funny how it makes people nervous. Stillness, quiet, peace, just trying not to talk, it makes people nervous because they're uncomfortable with themselves. They can't sit with themselves very long. They need to be doing something else to distract themselves. So you bring people back to themselves and you do it with a horse.
You just reminded me of something because I have one horse that I don't feature on my Instagram very much. I don't work with her very much. I don't really do much with her because she For most people, she'd probably be the easiest horse. For me, she's the most difficult because she brings me back to that groundedness and that peace where I can be, but usually not for extended periods of time unless I have the right environment. Let's say the music, the candles, the incense, the calm, the dim lights, the whatever. But when I'm out with my horses, I just feel revved up and ready to go. And yes, we can meditate for 20, 30 minutes, but then I want to run. I want to jump on a trampoline and jump on their back. I want to do a flip or a cartwheel and go, "Ah, la, 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 la," and start running and have them chase me. Like, I just want crazy chaos and play. And she doesn't really do that. She likes she'll follow me at a walk and stand. And for me, that's really hard because like, I think she's going to help me with my ADHD and get me a little more grounded because she sticks to one exercise and she can do that exercise for a long period of time. Whereas I thrive where I can keep things interesting for both myself and for the horse by changing things. And she doesn't do the change very well. She does it at her own pace, very slowly. Let's just look off into the sunlight, close our eyes and feel the wind on our eyelashes. And it's hard for me. Yeah.
Well, you've got an incredible vibe, an incredible energy, and I know your horses love you, even the calm, cool one who just likes to chill. So what is next for you, Kasia? What is next? What's the next thing you're going to be doing? You're doing this workshop. We're going to get 1 million people under your training. You're going to heal 1 million people and horses. But besides that, what's next for you? What are you looking forward to for you?
I am creating, for now, it's just a couple days retreat, but it'll be longer healing retreats here with my horses. Once I get that going and I can expand my barn a little bit, I would love to be able to start a foundation, collect some money, and go to different horse auctions where horses are being sent to slaughter. That is legal in Europe and some places. I would love to be able to rescue them, bring them here, and then use them in those processes to help humans and horses heal together and rehabilitate together. And before I started on my mission with helping people, I just wanted to help horses because I thought horses are so much better than people. That's what I want to do. But now
I
that
hope
I
so.
feel like I really want to help people too, I feel this pull from my stomach. It's just this pull. And I'm thinking, but no, I need to help and rescue horses. How can I do that? And so I see this in a way where I can rescue horses, especially those who cannot be ridden, because a lot of the clients that I'm tending to get now don't have much experience with horses, but they're appreciating the connection. They're finding so much love. And so if someone's going to come here for months or years and they connect with a specific horse that can't be ridden, why can't they take that horse home with that horse and maybe a little mini pony or something, and they can provide those two amazing, equines a loving home, and other people will go on a walk with their dogs and they'll be on a walk with their horses. These people don't need to ride. And I'm finding that a lot of equestrians in the clinics that I wanted to give, they want results. They have these goals with their horses. And so, yes, I could help them understand their horse's emotions, but I found that those equestrians are not necessarily open to the perspective that I have because it is slower and it is more emotional and spiritual. And they're just more like method, technique, result, bam. So I want to appeal to the people who don't need to necessarily ride. Maybe they do have a horse or they want to do walk, trot, something super light. But in this way, I can connect those people, those horses. They can get their healing, and these horses can live the rest of their lives being seen and taken care of.
I love that. I love that so much because honestly, just like I said, I had the 2 horses and the pony, and one horse I could ride, and the other horse we just couldn't ride. We didn't even push Cheyenne to ride because she just wasn't there. She'd been abused too much, but having her there, having her in the pasture, having her hanging around with Chief, having her around the kids, brushing her, feeding her, all of that was so therapeutic for us. And it just they're such beautiful, loving animals that just having them there, like you said, is gonna change a lot of people. It's going to change a lot of people. So I lied earlier because I'm a liar. That's what I do. And I said I just had one question, but I always have two questions. I give you the first "what if you
Ah,
could" question,
okay.
but I never give everybody the second question because I'm a liar. So the second question is, Kosh, is before we head off into the sunset, right off into the sunset on a horsey, is there a last thought or message or feeling or quote? Is there something that's like really important to you, something that you really feel in your gut? It could be about anything. It doesn't have to be about horses. It could be about your lupus. It could be about your transformation and things like that. But there's just thought that you'd like to leave with us before we ride off into the sunset.
Yes, actually. Um, what's coming to me is about my lupus, and this will just be like a general statement about everything. Don't believe what other people tell you. Don't believe them because they only have their experience to work off of. They don't know you, your history, what drives you, your passion, what your mission is on this planet. So their opinions, the words coming out of their mouth are limiting you. I would say don't believe them. Go search inside yourself for the answer. If there's even an inkling of maybe it can be done, maybe I can do it, maybe. And then there's the second thought, oh, no, 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 I could never. Listen to the first one. Listen to the first one because that's your authentic self speaking to you. And this, I could never. Those are all the other people with their limiting beliefs and their experiences who are trying to limit you as well. So always have hope, always listen to yourself. Take what other people say with a grain of salt. Even me, take what I say with a grain of salt because I'm only basing everything what was coming out of my mouth on my experiences.
I love it. Take everything with a big old salt tab, a big old salt stone for the horses that they
Yeah.
love to lick out here. I'd rather live in the desert, so yeah, we gave our horses a lot of salt. But that's so true, kiddo. I mean, it's like we spend way too much time worrying about the rest of the world thinks about us and what people think about us and how we look and how we should act and what our place is. But it's all bullshit. I mean, when it comes down to it, you're the only person standing with you, and you have to trust yourself. You have to believe yourself, even if it's doctors or lawyers or some experts, some professionals that we're all supposed to trust the science and trust people. And it's all bullshit. You know in your gut, right? I mean, your gut's your best indicator of anything, of what's true, for yourself.
Mhm.
And horses. Horses will tell you.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, all right, kiddo. So, how do we find you? Where's all your stuff? Your website, your Instas, all your social shit. Where do we find you?
Okay. I am mainly on Instagram. I am there all day, every day, basically. That is my platform. It is equestrian Kasia Bukowska, equestrian Kasia Bukowska. And my art Instagram is Kasia_Bukowska_art. And so I have two separate websites, one for the horse connection and one for the art, even though they're kind of intertwined, as I explained. But one is Heart Horse Experience, because I truly believe every horse can be your heart horse if you open up to them and you start to understand them. And my art website is just kasiabukowska.com. I'm also on Facebook and on TikTok, but you just type in my name literally on Google and things will start popping up. So,
That's awesome. And I don't. I'm on all that stuff, but I don't have a clue how to use any of it. The only thing I'm ever can figure out is Facebook because it's just kind of so easy. But I do love your site and I love you being playful. And I don't care what anybody else says about the hair or the cat ears. Just keep being you. I love when you run with your horses. I love watching you with your animals. It's just such a beautiful thing. So thank you for giving that to us. And I can't wait till you hit your 1 million and then go to 10 million and then who knows how many you can heal from there, right? There's a lot of people out there and we all
Yeah,
are
you
fucked
know,
up
I'm
and
just
we all
starting
need
out.
help.
I'm young. So I have a lot of years
All
ahead.
right. I love it. So, all right, my friends, everybody, you were just exposed to the amazing Kasia Bukowska.
Yes, and one last thing, if anyone's interested in my
Yes,
upcoming
yes,
webinar,
please say it.
it's coming up
Say
next
it. Yes, tell us.
and it is called Your Horse, Your Mirror. And I have it up in my Instagram bio. And I don't think it's on my website yet. So I will have to make a special page for that on my website. And I'll be posting it on all over Facebook to different equine groups and things like that. But
So, what is it again? Your horse, what is it again?
your horse, your mirror.
Your horse, your mirror. And I
Yeah.
love
So
that
we're
because if you've
gonna do
ever looked right into a horse with those big old eyes and those huge eyelashes, they are your mirror, right? I mean, horses just are your mirror. I love it. So, your horse, your mirror.
yes.
We're gonna look for it. All right, kiddo, you've been amazing. Thank you so much, and I know it's probably getting late over there in Poland, so I appreciate you joining us today on the What If You Could podcast.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of What If You Could podcast. Please subscribe, like, share, and give us any feedback. We'd love to hear it. And remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. See you next time.